Woo! Oh, people. Marriage. It's a funny thing. Hey, welcome to the Off Base Podcast. The podcast that's carefully crafted to remind you to suck a fat one if you think you're the only one. Because you're not. I certainly am not. I am the Rocky Mountain. I'm your host. I'm the Rocky Mountain no-name Jackass. And it's 25 degrees in the city of Aurora at 7:50 in the a.m. on Thursday, January 27th, 2022. Let's get the chaw going. My wife's least favorite part of the podcast. Okay. Here we go. It's all about psychology today, people. It's all about psychology. So, you're going to be my therapist for the day as I've been tracing back the events that have again led me to annoyance. But the silver lining is that at some point this will pass and I will gain a better understanding of myself. So, my son this morning, when we got home yesterday, I forgot that he had a page of math homework to do. And as we were putting together his backpack, I realized we forgot to do it. So we only had like 10 minutes before we had to get in the car and go. Granted, we had more time because we did it in the car, but there were things that he actually needed to look around the house to find. They were measuring the mass of stuff in grams and kilograms and the volume of things. So he had to find examples around the house of, what was approximately a kilogram, what was approximately a liter, blah, blah, blah. And he only had 10 minutes, and I tried to make him aware of this information. I'm like, dude, you only had 10 minutes, so stay focused on your task. And I even brought out a scale for him. So his first problem, he's trying to find something that weighs about a kilogram, and he's, just fucking around with the scale and not really doing the work. And I'm like, oh, shit. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's just that's how kids go. They get distracted, and you have to build in that kind of distraction time. Well, we didn't have that time. We only had 10 minutes. So I'm starting to get annoyed with him because he's not focusing on the task. And while things are going on, it's tough to, when you're crunched for time, you got to make the most of it. So I unfortunately got annoyed. I should have apologized to him in the car after I dropped him off. The two older ones, I didn't have to take them to school this morning because their mom's taking them to get new military IDs because theirs expired. But anyway, so the bottom line being that my annoyance didn't really come with him. I was upset that I forgot that he had homework to finish. But the annoyance came earlier. And it wasn't just earlier that morning because there was an incident with my wife and I so for years, I usually get up early. I usually get up first. And today I did it as well. I got up about 4. And when she comes in, we're here in Colorado, she gets up at about 5:30-ish. To go ride the Peloton. And when she does, she comes in and she makes herself a cup of coffee or espresso or whatever. And I come in to say good morning to her because I like her. And in the past, in Colorado and when we lived in Texas and when we lived in Florida, if I would just walk in, because it's so early in the morning, it's dark, it's quiet, I would inadvertently frighten her. She would get scared. So in order to alleviate that, particularly here in Colorado, what I will start to do before I enter the kitchen is I start snapping my fingers so she knows that I'm coming and doesn't get terrified. So I did that today, which I've been doing for the last 6 months. And she's turned to me and said, "You don't have to snap anymore." And I got annoyed by that. Because I'm doing this, and I even said to her, I said, "Well, the only reason why I'm doing that is because of the number of times that you have been frightened by my entry into the kitchen, and I thought I was helping you out." And she didn't say anything after that, and I didn't say anything after that. I was just annoyed. I was like, I'm doing this to help you. In the past, you would jump out of your skin as I rounded the corner. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. So that got me annoyed. But the annoyance started even further back. It started back last night. When we sat down to dinner, and dinner was kind of late because I had done a workout. I did some yoga yesterday. And I was trying to make a cauliflower pizza crust from scratch, which turned out to be much, much better than last week's. But preparing that all of the dinner yesterday, it took about like an hour and a half. So we actually didn't sit down until about 7:30 to eat. And we were watching this anime that we've all been watching together. But when we were in the living room, I was in the living room. My wife was in the kitchen, topping off her pizza with like tomatoes and some other things, sour cream. I don't know what the hell she was putting on it. But the fact of the matter was, she was in the kitchen, and we have the most overly sensitive smoke alarm that you can imagine. Like, even if I'm cooking a steak on the griddle in the kitchen, this fucking thing will go off. It's ridiculous. Sometimes there's not even visible smoke. Let's say, for example, we're doing a baked potato in the oven and I put olive oil on it. What I have to do now is I have to actually put a tray underneath it, because what was happening is the oil would drop down off the potato, hit the bottom of the oven, and then smoke up, right? And that smoke would, and it wasn't a lot of smoke at all. It was just a little bit of smoke, and you get a burning smell. That would set off the smoke alarm. It's like, fuck, this thing. I mean, it's great, but it's fucking annoying, and it's loud. And so I'm sitting there in the living room, about to sit down to eat, while my wife is still in the kitchen, and I had just seared a flank steak on the griddle, and I also had a baked potato in the oven for my son. So, and the older ones, they were eating something else. My stepdaughter, I seared a hamburger for her as well. So, there's some smoke that comes off the griddle for all that stuff. So I said to my wife, "Hey, turn on the fan." Now, what I didn't say was turn on the fan over the microwave. She thought I was asking her to turn on the fan that was above my head. And it's so funny. It's just the misunderstanding or the miscommunication on my part. And then her response, which is she always wants me to explain shit that I ask her to do. So I'm sitting there explaining to her, I have a feeling I'm smelling stuff, and this is what I'm saying out loud. I say I'm smelling stuff off the griddle, and I'm afraid the smoke alarm's going to go off. Can you turn the fan on? And like I said, she thought I was talking about the living room fan that was over my head, not the kitchen fan that was in the microwave fan. See, even right now, I have trouble explaining it, because I'm just going through in my head, where I was last night, because I didn't want that fucking smoke alarm to go off. So at one point, I semi-snapped, and I said, "Can you just turn the fan on?" She was like, all right. So I was short with her, and I really should have apologized to her later, but I wasn't realizing it until right now. But that isn't even where my annoyance started. I think my annoyance started a little bit earlier in the evening, when I was preparing the food, and she was drinking a glass of wine. And I talked about this maybe a couple of weeks ago, where it's one of those issues. I told you, I even said this is going to come back up at some point. For the time being, though, I had skipped over it because there was no need to go back to it. It was kind of like a moot point. But my wife had she was drinking wine and she had a thing on her face, like she always has. And I told myself that I was not going to tell her when she had a wine stain on her face, because for some reason she hates the way that I tell her she has a wine stain on her face. And I told myself, just don't do it. Just don't do it. She doesn't like the way that you say it. Don't do it. Again, I'm just trying to help. You are standing there with shit on your face. If you want me to pay attention to you, I'm going to tell you to clean the shit off your face. If you want me to pay attention to the shit on your face, then I'm not going to say anything. So I have always in the past opted to tell a person when they have shit on their face or shit in their teeth, so that I'm not paying attention to that when I'm talking to them. But because my wife hates the way that I tell her that she has stuff on her face, I made the decision with myself not to tell her. Well, I think maybe it was by what do you call it? Not instinct, but by habit. I just turned around. I was at the stove. I turned around. I saw it, and I said, "Hey, you got wine on your face." And I was like, "Fuck." Now, luckily, she didn't say anything to me about how I said it to her. I think it's because the way in which I usually say it is, I tell her to get a napkin. I say, "Hey, go like this," and then she'll get all mad and say, "Well, why can't you just tell me I have something on my face?" So this time I actually did just tell her she had something on her face. But I think I was more pissed at myself because I made that tiny pact with myself that I wasn't going to say anything because she doesn't like the way I say it. And even when I said something to her, I said, "You got something on your face." And I said this 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when it came up. The reason why that I say to somebody, "Hey, go like this," is because what they do is people do the mirror image of what you're doing. So again, I'm doing the left side of my face, and if you have something on the left side of your face, right? I'm not gonna show the left side of my face, because what ends up happening is people do the mirror image and they'll wipe the right side of their face if you show them the left. Look, I'm getting all flustered again, getting all mad. So I did that. I said, "Hey, you got something on your face." I think I even said on the right side of your face, because she always gets it in the same spot, the wine on her face. And she starts wiping the other side. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. If I would have said, "Hey, you have something right here," and I did the mirror image, she would have wiped the correct side. Anyway, luckily, she didn't say anything to me about how I said it to her. God forbid her ego gets damaged in that way. I just don't understand that particular issue with her. Why she can't just be like, "Oh, thanks," and then wipe it off. Why can't you say that? I'm trying to help you. Fucking A. But that, I think, is what annoyed me. That, I think, is what started my annoyance, is that I went back on a small promise that I made to myself to not tell her because she doesn't like the way I say it. And then when she did it, I can't remember if I already said this, but even when she went to wipe it off, she didn't wipe it off. So I'm not going to tell her again. These little things, man. These little tiny things that can end up. It's like a psychological potpourri. Because I'm a firm believer in the fact that if the parents aren't getting along, then the children won't be getting along. And that was certainly evident, man, this morning when my son was trying to finish his homework and I got annoyed with him. There's no need for me to get annoyed with him. Like I said, I should have apologized to him in the car. I will when I pick him up, now that I'm talking it through. But he's probably immediately going to say, "Oh, it's okay, Dad." And I said, no. And I'll tell him, I said, "No, I need to apologize." But I don't think that would have happened if what had happened between my wife and I last night had not happened. Psychological potpourri, man. It all mixes together. frustrating. And ultimately what I want is to have a good relationship with the kids and a good relationship with my wife. But women are funny, man, because I've been listening to all kinds of different podcasts over the years. And these strictly male podcasts that I've listened to when men do talk about their wives, I'm not the only one who experiences this. It's like it's like everything that needs fixing in the relationship like has to get fixed on my side. Not on her side. Not on the wife's side. They come into the marriage fully formed, completely evolved, and have no room for improvement. That drives me nuts. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just a no-name jackass. Bottom line being that I did snap at her last night about turning the fan on. I should apologize to her for that, because I didn't use the right words. But I also I hate having to explain everything I ask her to do. It's annoying. But that's not what started it. What started it was that fucking whine. Now I'm thinking, oh boy, do we address that one? How do I address that one? I don't know. I always say, man, the thing about marriage is it's not what is said, it's what's not said. And what I'm not saying right now is, hey, we need to talk about this issue when people have, when you have stuff on your face, and how you get pissed at me for how I say it to you. But all it's going to do is that she's not going to admit on her side, oh yeah, maybe I should just understand that you're trying to help me and just wipe the shit off my face and move on, because that's really what should be happening. That's what I would say to a dude. Be like, hey man, you got something on your eye. And do the motion, the mirror image motion, so he doesn't go on the other side. I hope that doesn't color what the hell I have to do for the rest of the day here as I'm approaching base. Got some projects that I'm working on. Stepson and I will be hitting the gym tonight. It's our push day. We'll be doing chest, shoulders, and tries, and a little bit of leg. We'll be doing some leg presses in there. Diet's been going well. Been sleeping well. I would have liked to have slept a little bit longer. Sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, what I've been doing recently, well, what I used to do before, if I woke up in the middle of the night, I'd be like, I'll just get up now. But what I've been doing recently is, if I get up in the middle of the night, I'll go back to bed, because I have an alarm set, but I'll go back to bed and see how close I can get to my alarm. That's actually been working for me a lot better than it has in the past. So probably like 33% of the time I will sleep all the way through until I wake up at around 4:30, 5:30. Maybe 2/3 of the time I will wake up early and then try to go back to sleep. This is over the course of the last 2-3 weeks. I'm all over the map, man. My brain's still clouded about this. But what's been nice is been talking to you people about it. You no-name jackasses. That's right. You guys are jackasses too, just like me. We all make the jackass moves. So thank you for listening to my 2 podcast listeners out there. Appreciate it. Now it's time to get scanned as we're getting back on base here. I'll be closing things down. Can't really see the skyline this morning. We're going to get some snow. It's supposed to start in another half hour or so. Morning, bro. Have a good day. Thanks. Maybe I need a new ID. Half the time I get scanned, they gotta stop and look and wait or scan again. I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta employ that technique, though, that my son taught me of calming himself. So when I talked about yesterday, is Mr. Miyagi. Oh, by the way, on his times 5s, his first times 5 test, he got 17 out of 21. Now, he didn't officially pass, according to his teacher, but He did pretty good for the first time out. On his 3s and 4s, I think his first time he got like 7 out of 21. But the 5s are easier, so he done good. Proud of that little guy. And oh yeah, look at that! You can't see Denver. You just can't see the Rockies in the background because the snow is coming in. Visibility is low. It's not horrific, like it would be if there was a snowstorm happening. But the roads are pretty good, so we haven't had to worry about that. So that's nice. So that's, I guess, where we're going to close things down today. I hope everybody has a great day. Be careful of, or be mindful, not careful. Be mindful of extending spousal annoyances to your children, and try your best to work out your spousal annoyances. I know it's challenging sometimes, and like I said, right now I still haven't even decided if I'm even going to say anything about the cleaning of the face. I should say something, but I don't know if I haven't yet decided if I'm going to or not. I don't know. I really should though. See, we know what we should do, but is it worth the effort? Oh, all right. I'll close it down right now. Smell you all tomorrow. Bye.